Hey everyone, welcome to the Product Ops HQ Meetup. For those who don't know me yet, my name is Anna Andrade. I'm your community manager here at Product Ops HQ, and I'm also part of Dragonboat's team. Let's just give a minute or so for everyone to join. But in the meantime, feel free to say hi in the chat and tell us where you're joining from. As for me, I'm tuning in from Portugal. I'm really excited about today's session, which will be around building with AI. And it's going to be a Product Ops Community Lightning Talk. Let's just give a second or two for people to join. I'm seeing where you are joining us from: Michigan, Washington, D.C., Montana, Amsterdam, California. Good. Another one from Michigan. Welcome, everyone. So today we have two Product Ops professionals sharing real AI use cases, followed by an open discussion where everyone is more than welcome to jump and ask your questions live. As we go with the talks, please drop your questions in the Q&A, or if you want to join the live session at the end, feel free to raise your hands and I will unmute you to join the open discussion, and you'll get the chance to ask your questions or share your experience live with everyone. If we run out of time, we can always continue the conversation in our Slack. Leah is going to drop the link to join us in Slack in the chat. And yes, we are recording the session, so you will be able to catch the replay after. Before bringing in our guests, a really quick word from our sponsor, Dragonboat. So we've been seeing that AI is speeding up the build side of products, and that speed is really exciting, but it's also creating a new kind of complexity, right? And so the bottleneck is shifting to intake, prioritization, and to keep everyone and everything aligned as things are moving faster. And that's the problem that Dragonboat is built to solve. It's the operation foundation where your product data and decisions can live, giving your executives, your builders, and agents shared context and memory so that they can strategize and deliver product investments that actually move the needle for your business. So if you want to learn more, check out dragonboat.ai, or you can also always drop me a DM in our Slack, and I'm more than happy to connect you to one of our product experts. And with that, I'm really happy to welcome our guest speakers for today. So first up, we will have Pourush Kalra. Pourush is an operations and AI workflow solutions professional with extensive experience across leading technology organizations, including Workday, Blackline, and Amazon. He specializes in bridging product operations with modern artificial intelligence, workflow automation, and agentic systems to streamline complex organizational workflows. And today, he will be sharing Meeting Maestro, a tool he built himself. So welcome, Pourush. And thank you for joining us. Also joining us is Neha Tiwari. So Neha is Senior Director of Enterprise Transformation and Delivery at Sayari, where she leads agile transformation and delivery across product, R&D, and go-to-market. Before Sayari, she was Senior Director of Portfolio Transformation and Delivery at Securonix, And she has held product portfolio and transformation leadership roles at AT&T, C-Prime, Chase, and PNC, bringing more than 15 years of experience driving enterprise strategy and portfolio delivery. She will walk us through Sayari's end-to-end intake to execution workflow and how her team is using Dragonboat's MCP and AI in their day-to-day operations. So welcome, Neha, and welcome, Pourush. Really excited to have you both here today.
Thank you, Anna. Hi, everyone.
Okay, let's get to the fun part. Pourush, the floor is yours. Take it away. Let me just stop sharing my screen.
Thank you,
Okay,
Anna.
good to go.
All right, let me get to screen sharing. Do you see my screen okay, Anna?
Yeah, perfect.
All right. So, hello everyone. My name is Pourush, and I'm really super excited to be speaking with the community today. And I guess most of you are from the US time zone, so I guess good morning, everyone. Um, so before building Meeting Maestro, the tool that I'm going to be talking about in just a second, I worked in product operations in companies such as Blackline and Workday and Amazon. And one of the biggest pain points that I had was coming out of these meetings and using the intelligence that lied in these meetings and putting it somewhere in the RAID logs, in Excel spreadsheets, and especially Jira stories. Often I would take calls, late at night at 10 p.m., with the offshore India team. And up until 12, I'm just putting the Jira stories in. And that's a huge pain points. There's a huge administrative churn. There are, too many calls, too many Jiras and Confluences to fill, too many RAID logs to keep updated that goes stale. So for that, I built this tool called Meeting Maestro. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the link of this in chat because this tool is accessible to everyone. As of now, you can just walk through with me and create an account and get started for free. Currently, this tool is free for everyone to use until I start charging for it. But for now, yeah, it's in beta. So this is how Meeting Maestro works. When you log into it, you're gonna see a net new project that's gonna look something like this. And what you can do is add your connections. And if you're a Zapier user, you know what I'm talking about. Like you could connect your various accounts, such as Google, um, Confluence, Jira accounts, so that you can refer to the documents from it. And in this case, I'm already connected to my Jira. So I'm going to pick a Jira board and I'm going to pick the actual board that I use for the Meeting Maestro project. And with that, I have some meetings that I did discussing about Meeting Maestro uh, that I'm gonna just upload to this project and see what goes on over here. So sorry, one second. Okay. Yep, okay. So while the meeting is processing, what I'm expecting is to have some sort of a RAID log that tells me the status of this meeting. And what it does is it's running an AI agent that will populate the RAID log items and that will give me the Jira items in just a second so that I can use the insights from this meeting and get get all the items just for my review, and it's going to take just a second. There you go. So now, in this meetings, in somewhere I have discussed about incorrect behavior of Google Docs as a source connection in the transcript. And what it did, it picked up this, and it has this for my view. And similarly, it has access to my Jira board, and it looked into board, and at certain points I might have told that I want to move MM7 to done. And what it does is it reads my Jira board, it reads the meeting transcript, and it gives me all the suggestions and all the things that I need to do in the Jira. For example, if there is a create ticket, I can just go review this, and it will just go to my Jira board and give me the content for creating a Jira story. In this case, it gave a short context because this call was really short, like a 5-minute call. But had I had more context, it will just give me a Jira story that I could just create straight from here in Jira. And then right after I upload a follow-up meeting to the meeting, that the initial meeting that I had, what it's going to do is it's going to read this raid log again and update the items if any items need to be updated, so that there, like, some sort of a log is maintained on where the team is at. And this is something that can be shared with the team, and can just be presented as a status of the project. Like if you see in the audit log, it decided to change one of the items to in progress because I discussed a follow up on that item in the next meeting. So I have a new item, and then I can review the new Jira actions that I have, uh, and based on that, I can. Uh, and the moment I review and proceed and I mark it as done, it just takes the action for me. Um, Similarly, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a third meeting and then see what happens over here. And this is the third follow-up meeting that I have as a sample. And while it does that, I wanna also showcase the chat function. And this is where I've really taken inspiration from. If you have used Cursor, this UI would be familiar to you. And I can just say that how is my Jira board looking? And it will just look at my Jira board, and then it will give me some sort of a summary of my Jira board. And the chat will take actions too. And I'm going to show this. So this is my actual Jira board, and it tells me the active sprint, which I have right open here. And I can just talk to my Jira and do all the actions. And similarly, I think now I have the third meeting in. And if I have, let's say, one of the update actions, I can just go there, and I have one of the tickets that it identified, and it's saying that in the call I discussed, and I can change the fields. Maybe I can say here that, I want the priority of this to be highest, and I can commit these updates, and it will just show me that MM27 was changed to highest based on the thing based on our recommendation in the Meeting Maestro app. Another thing that we can do is connect our Google Docs, and think of this, for example, that you have, let's say that you have some sort of a BRD or a PRD file, and based on that, you have to create Jira work items on that. So you can just connect your Google Documents and start a new chat and say something like this. Uh, Sorry, not this one. Oops, got the wrong file. Yeah. So I have a BRD for Smart Suggestion Cards feature that I had earlier. So what you can do is you can say something like, based on this, create a Jira story with acceptance criteria. And what it's going to do is going to think a little, and then it's going to just create a story for you right there. And just in 3, 2, 1, done. Yeah, yep. So it did create a story for me. It has an acceptance criteria. It looked into that document. It looked into my Jira board. And now you have a Jira story created right from Meeting Maestro app. And yeah, so that's what it is, and that's something that I'm building. And once again, anybody can go in and test it. I see that there's a question about it. Um,
Yes. So we have Melissa and Ellie asking, how did you actually build it? And there are rules automations powering it.
yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I used, the app has multiple agents, and one of the agents that it has is Jira meeting, RaidLog and Jira meeting processing agents. And uh, and by the way, Anna, how much time do I have? Maybe I can see in how much in detail can I answer this?
If the answer is long, we can leave it for the Q&A. But I will give you, if you want to answer now, I can give you 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay, 3 or 4 minutes should be okay.
Okay.
So this is the sorry, 1 second. Yeah. So I have multiple agents in this application, and this is how the whole thing works. So one of them is the chat agent, which is one of the more complicated ones. And what it does is that it looks at a RAG-based tool. So every meeting that you upload or every static file that you upload goes into a RAG pipeline. And then there's tool calling. So you've got Jira, you've got the Google Sheets. So there's an agentic loop that gets aware of all the tools and context it has reference to, and based on that runs loops and decides and gives an answer to you. And similarly, there is actions extractor agent that upon meeting load it triggers, and again it based on this logic it will give you an answer. And similarly, I have a Jira story synthesizer that has similar logic based on right when the meeting is selected, it gives you a Jira draft. From there you can edit it and upload to Jira. So if there are no other questions, and I think I'm just in time, I will
Yeah.
pass it.
Yeah. Thank you, Pourush. I hope this answer. Well, Melissa is also asking, what was that tool, the flow chart?
Oh, so this is a custom tool that I built. And I used anti-gravity IDE to build all this, and this is totally custom. This is not a publicly available tool. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
All
I
right.
hope that answered. So if all good, we can leave the rest of the questions. We actually don't have anything coming up right now, so we will pass the mic to Nia, and then we will open the floor for more questions at the end. So Nia, good to go.
Thank you, Anna. Hi, everyone. I'm joining from Dallas. I work at Sayari, as Anna mentioned in the beginning of the call. I lead the transformation and delivery at Sayari. Sayari is a supply risk and third-party risk management platform. It is providing a lot of AI solutions right now to commercial intelligence and investigative tradecraft kind of solutions to ensure that if there are any shady organizations, they are found, and then they're like huge client base for Sayari. Now within Sayari, it's a mid-sized organization, and what it was lacking was like kind of a people process tooling aspect. And that's when I was hired in 2025 to ensure that I drive the process transformation of Sayari, starting managing the intake, and then how intake and various other aspects, kind of product strategy and enterprise strategy is created, how that's broken down into execution items, how engineering executes on that, What's the cadence of that? What's the work item for that? What are the tools for that? And then how are we connecting the execution back to the strategy? So, of course, it's easier said than done. I did bring in a lot of processes when I identified a gap in terms of tooling. They were using Jira heavily, but what was missing was a really good tool to kind of tie everything together. And that's when I started researching into enterprise transformation tools, and I kind of stumbled upon Dragonboat. Now, Dragonboat provides really key, unique capability, which I was not aware is kind of enterprise level gap. Basically, my product leadership wanted to manage the intake also in the same tool where we would be managing the strategic level, the OKR level items, and then the higher level initiative level work items, which eventually gets broken into features and stories in Jira, right? So I was looking for a tool which is not only connecting the intake from Salesforce, but also the execution happening, like a team level execution happening in Jira, and then bringing everything together as part of one tool. And I can confidently say that after doing that research, that Dragonboat was the only tool which provided me that. So, of course, we started off with that use case, which was great. But as soon as I started implementing Dragonboat, the agentic transformation and execution picked up even at Sayari. Like we were going full blown in terms of our development life cycle. We were kind of started following from the regular, Scrum, Scaled Agile, and Kanban kind of approach. We started pivoting towards agentic SDLC. And then even though our original use case of implementing Dragonboat was different, when we started implementing, we wanted to utilize Dragonboat more in agentic fashion and manner. And that's when, of course, I reached out to the solution partner within Dragonboat, and they immediately helped me out with the great point of like connecting Dragonboat to our Claude, and then started creating literally. I think what Pourush showed just now was great from like, meeting logs perspective and how to break those down into user stories. But when we started doing the agentic kind of execution via Dragonboat, we kind of did this similar kind of pattern that, hey, if we are annotating anything as part of Google Meets, or if we have any other PRD documents, we were just feeding that into Claude, and we were asking Claude to break that down into initiatives, features, and story. And the initiatives and features were getting created in Dragonboat, and they were also being pushed from Dragonboat to Jira. So the integration key was also getting established. Like I have seen that journey in Dragonboat where they actually told me, they were very clear that, Neha, this is a beta product. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. We have a huge appetite of agentic transformation, so we'll use that. And then in 3 weeks or so, I was seeing even the integration happening uh, between Dragonboat and Jira via MCP in Claude. Now, I guess just after a quarter of implementation of like Dragonboat, what I'm doing currently is my entire product management team, engineering team, even a lot of go-to-market team, they are heavily using MCP. They are creating the items in Dragonboat via MCP. Then they are breaking those items down, updating the statuses of Dragonboat work items in Claude, and then they are pushing the work items in Jira. And then if the work item already exists in Jira via MCP, then they're asking Claude to kind of connect it back to Dragonboat. So it's doing all of that like pretty seamlessly. And now what I've started doing is really doing agentic way of reporting, meaning all the items I'm ensuring there are certain fields which are exposed to MCP are kind of being read in my reports, and the scheduled based cadence reports are being produced. Even though Dragonboat provides a lot of native AI capability, but just because its MCP execution is seamless and it's really great. To be very honest, I have been heavily relying Claude way of kind of agentic transformation and reporting and execution. And I can at least for now, based on all my experience and my team experience, I can definitely communicate it's happening really, really well. I'm not sure if there are any questions in terms of like how we operate or any other processes, how we have implemented.
So everyone, if you have questions for Nia, feel free to drop them in the chat or raise your hand. I guess those two use cases were very helpful for the audience. And so maybe we can jump into the open discussion. And yeah, feel free to join us on stage if you want to raise your hand and jump into the live stage. I will love to welcome you here. I don't see any question for me right now. We have one from Ali or Pourush. So in terms of how the app was built, hosted, what powers it, I don't know if you want to add something here, Pourush, or if you want to take this offline with Ali.
I'm okay with whatever. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. I don't think we have a very silent. Can you answer here? I'm interested too. So I don't know if your answer is going to be that long, Purush. Because we have a lot other person, Melissa, also interested in learning more about how did you build the app.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer if it's okay. Should I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, everything that I built here is custom code. I didn't use Zapier or N8N or any of that. So what I used for front end is Tailwind CSS, and for the AI, I'm using OpenAI API, and then my choice of coding tool is anti-gravity. So everything that you saw today is totally custom coded with anti-gravity. And then for backend, I'm using Postgres database and PG Vector for RAG pipelines. So hope that helps, Haley and Melissa. And feel free to reach out to me on Slack channel if because I've vibe coded quite a lot. So yeah, I know quite a bit about that. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, so feel free to reach out to Porush either on our Slack or on LinkedIn. We will share some helpful resources at the end. Let's see if we have any other questions. It looks like we have a quiet audience today. Not that usual, but let's see. For someone who is just getting into using AI, what tools do you suggest to get started? This is a question from Eileen.
Okay, I can take that one. So this depends on your goal, Aileen. What are you trying to do with AI? Are you trying to build some applications? Are you trying to do one-off automations, or are you trying to do some voice agents? It really depends on your use case. If you tell me your use case, I can uh, talk a bit more in detail. But in general, I can tell you that um, I have a preference to Google ecosystem. It's just so that I really like their pricing and how they tie their products together. So I would start with uh, if you are not as technical, I would start with tools such as Lovable to just create prototypes and see how the applications could work. Um, and if you want to get a bit technical, have an understanding of databases, have an understanding of authentication, how login works, how file storage works, and things like that. That's when you move either to Cursor. Cursor is one of the more famous ones, but I prefer Anti-Gravity IDE, or Claude Code is, one of the most famous ones that you can use. Yeah, I think if your general use cases is to free up more time, I think you're looking at a lot of one-off automation. So you want to look at tools such as Zapier and N8N. And in that you can, in a no-code fashion, you could automate a lot of your use cases. So yeah, hope that helps. And I guess there's another question.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to add something to that question as well. And then we can go to the next one.
I think Pourush covered it really well. Even our organization was struggling a lot in the beginning, which ones to kind of go to. Finally, we got settled with Claude only because we ultimately ended up integrating everything with Claude. Even our like day-to-day execution and development and coding is also happening. So enterprise level, that was the direction. Let's just start kind of all the strategic level, work item automation. Also, we started kind of doing via Claude. Hence, MCP connection via Claude to Dragonboat became really important for us.
Okay, cool. Okay, it looks like they are popping up right now. So a question for both panelists. How do you handle teams using these tools? Do different users get different results each time? So, Sean, I don't know if you want to jump into the stage and ask your question live.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the question is like, do we see, these tools and these workflows as like for an individual PM, for example, or is there shared knowledge across the PM org where you're using these like Parush, you know, if multiple folks gave the same had the same meeting, do the workflow that you described, would it feed a Jira ticket differently, or how do you make sure that it's like deterministic versus just like a PM copilot that could do a few different things a few different times?
Right. Right. No, yeah, that's a really good point. And because the application uh is being is in a very native stage, I would say. And then we have a strong and mighty engineering team of one, that is me. So sharing features are somewhere in the backlog, and I really do see value in that, where multiple people can have access to the RAID log at one time, and multiple people can contribute and work in that project. But that is something a bit far in the backlog. I gotta fix so many things before I get to that. But definitely there's value in that.
Makes sense.
And I'll just add one point, which is very, very important in any kind of AI transformation. I would say human governance doesn't go away, right? So you definitely ensure that you are utilizing AI for efficiency, But what I am ensuring with my product team, with my engineering teams, even with my go-to-market teams, that guys, okay, now you have created this agentic feature and story. Please review and please ensure that you are okay with this, right? It shouldn't just directly go to developers for the execution without having the human governance review and finalization. And I would say that's applicable to any kind of workflow. Because to your point, Sean, if you run the same command again, you might get a different report. I live it day to day, basically, that my reports, if I'm running a report, I'm definitely spending 30 minutes to ensure that the data is correct. And every time I at least find one or two discrepancies. So it is very important to do the human governance on that.
That makes sense. Thanks.
Thank you, Nia. Thank you, Purush. Okay, so the next question, this is from Griffin. When scaling AI as an organization, how do you prevent different teams and business units from running into their own directions to build AI tooling? And how do you keep teams aligned on the same business outcomes for AI usage? I think it's related to what we've talked.
I can take that a bit. I think this is tied back to the same point I was trying to make. It just kind of gives the idea that if the enterprise strategy is there and it's broken down into, let's say larger initiatives and the features, and for different organization, the strategy may mean something else. AI is just a tool creating the efficiency, but the leadership, the discussion around that doesn't go away. The need of alignment still stays as is. The need of transparency still stays as is for any other enterprise, how it used to be before, right? And this is a very, very good question because I guess when we are implementing the AI, we feel like, okay, everything just lives in that system, and the need of creating the alignment, the transparency, ensuring everyone's kind of following the similar kind of objective. If we are pivoting or not based on the execution of that, work, that alignment still has to stay put. So all those functional actions never go away. Just because we have done the AI implementation, the functional roles and responsibility, the functional actions do not go away. Yes, what I've seen in my current experience, that if we would be pivoting on our objective or on our strategy, maybe in the span of 2 months or 3 months, now with the AI efficiency, we may get there in a week. That, hey, this objective, yes, we thought it's going to work. With all the execution, looks like we are not heading in the right direction. Let's just pivot. But the aligning on that pivoting still stays as is. That's just the example I'm trying to pick to ensure that, again, the alignment and the transparency, the functional role, how we were doing at the enterprise level doesn't get replaced due to AI. Even the utilization and creation of different kind of tooling, that just becomes part of your backlog, or these are the tools we have created. Not sure, Parush or Sean, you guys have anything to add to that?
I think you nailed it.
Cool. Thank you, Nia. I think Christine just thank you. Just said thank you. So I guess it answered his question. And we have another one from Melissa to Nia. She's asking, how are you measuring ROI and success or time saved?
Now, again, that's a very tricky question. One of the example I just gave was the pivot example, right? I can see that right now in my live day-to-day execution, that before on any bigger features, if we would have implemented that feature in a span of 1 month, we are able to get to the decent direction of where that feature execution is heading within a span of a week. and that we are able to measure in terms of efficiency. Is that taking away? I guess what's that doing is creating more pressure and more need of constantly strategizing the next steps of the enterprise at the C-level execs, because now they are getting the execution outcomes a little bit faster than before, and whether or not they are ready to head in the same direction versus a different directions, kind of quickly pivoting. That is creating different kind of a mindset with the execution team, because they, even though they are the ones kind of creating that efficiency, they are not that used to changing the strategy quite often. I know I'm kind of going on a little bit different tangent on your question here, but measuring the pivots, measuring the execution to the strategy, and how quickly the strategy is pivoting is what we are seeing at the ground level, rather than relying on any traditional specific metrics like before. Like cycle time becomes a very, very big metrics, right? Like that's why if somebody asks me how processes are changing in AI world, I am saying yes, there is a thing like agentic SDLC now, right? Like we have to go back to doing the more Kanban fashion of execution, where the cycle time and VIP is becoming the real thing rather than before. So some of those metrics stays as is, but how much work did we deliver? How many people delivered that? Those things are significantly changing. ROI still stays as a lagging indicator metrics, I would say. Like you would still not be able to measure the ROI at the agentic SDLC, just because that's still going to be not be the leading metrics that we cover or we measure at the day-to-day execution level. Does that answer your question, Melissa?
Melissa.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think we are close to our time, so let me just share my screen once again. And are you guys seeing my screen? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think this was very helpful. Thank you both, Pourush and Neha, for joining us today and for sharing your experiences. Before we wrap up today, here are a few helpful resources. So as I mentioned before, you can connect with our guests on LinkedIn. Leah is going to drop those links in the chat for you. Or you can join our Slack conversation if you have Slack. Pourush is already there. And so Leah is also sharing an invite for you in the chat. And if today sparked some ideas around building with AI in your own product ops workflows, Dragonboat can help, as Neha has shown here today. And so check it out at dragonboat.ai. And with that, this is a wrap. Thank you both for joining us again. And thank you all for joining us and for your questions. Stay tuned on our Slack for more community events and news. And I hope to see you all next time.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks,
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.